Okay, so 3:05, I think we will get started with the webinar. So, good afternoon to everyone, and a very warm welcome to all participants. Thank you for joining us for this webinar titled Hydrogen Innovation Summit Waste to H2 Pathways for a Green Future. We truly appreciate everyone's interest and participation. This webinar is organized by Hydrogen Network India, a platform working at the intersection of hydrogen skills, innovation, and industry collaboration. Hydrogen Network India is co-founded by Mr. Ekant Sharora and myself, Drumil Gogri. We are pleased to be hosting this session in association with Bharat Bio, a policy and industry-driven community organization focused on advancing India's bioenergy ecosystem. India is at a critical juncture in its energy transition, driven by the National Green Hydrogen Mission, which emphasizes not only clean hydrogen production but also circular economy approaches, especially the conversion of waste streams into high value energy products. Waste to hydrogen pathways offer a unique opportunity to address emissions, waste management, and energy security all at the same time. We are fortunate to have two distinguished speakers with us today, um, who are actively working at the forefront of these solutions. Both speakers will share insights from their research to startup journeys, breakthrough technologies, and the economic and environmental value their innovations bring to the green hydrogen ecosystem. We encourage all participants to post their questions in the chat during the sessions. We will try to address as many questions as possible within the available time frame. Our first speaker today is Professor Sanjay K. Singh from IIT Indore. It is my pleasure to introduce him. Professor Singh is a renowned expert in catalysis for energy and environmental applications with a strong focus on sustainable hydrogen production. He has led cutting-edge research on CO₂-free hydrogen generation from bio-waste and plastic waste, bridging fundamental science with scalable real-world application. He is also the founder of Revive Cleantech, a company focused on circular waste-to-hydrogen technologies aimed at commercial deployment. We look forward to his perspectives on technology innovation, startup formation, and the role of waste-derived hydrogen in India's clean energy future. Professor Singh will now take over this presentation. Sir, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Drumil, for the introduction, and let me share my slides. Hope my slides are visible.
Yes, you're good.
Okay, thanks. So first of all, thanks Drumil, thanks Ekansh and Hydrogen Network India for inviting me here, and this is a good platform to discuss about our efforts towards green hydrogen production and related work. And so I've been working in the area of hydrogen production for the last 15 years, and where we have developed several processes, particularly towards hydrogen production from a wide range of organic molecules. Okay, so organic molecules and the test plastic waste, and linking it all together for the circular economy. For instance, CO2 capture from air, and that is hydrogenated into liquid organic hydrogen carrier, and this is how the circular economy goes on. And these have the wide application. We mostly look into the hydrogen production part and the transformation of biomass and the plastic waste to hydrogen. So these are basically the three major domains. Like, I have an expertise in catalyst development and the further catalytic processes for the production of hydrogen, biomass transformation into value-added products. Particularly, many of the value-added products are the feedstock for hydrogen production, and then it will also lead to the some other validated product which has its own commercial value, and linking all together with the carbon capture and conversion. So all these processes which we have developed, and we found like a few of these processes have it's has the capacity of being scale up and maybe bring into the commercial scale, and that's how like this is the genesis of the Revive Cleantech, which is basically we look into the scale up part of these processes which we have developed and found potential in those processes, and primarily into the hydrogen production and along with the validated chemicals. I'll briefly describe all these processes which is basically the part of this webinar, also the waste to hydrogen. And we also will look into the transformation of CO2 biomass and the plastic waste with the concept of waste to health, waste to wealth, the processes. So we all know like what is the problem. Like problem is basically the CO2 emission, and then it has its consequences on the global warming and those things. So this is a new world record. Like every year we are getting a new record of CO2 emission, and this year April it was 431. So just keep on scaling, you can see like it's a very quite straight going up and up. So what could be the possible solution? One of these is the hydrogen, the green hydrogen particularly, which can provide one of the solution for reducing the CO2 in the atmosphere. And you can see which is the projection, like by 2050 it is expected to cover almost all the sectors of like the heating, cooling industry and transport and storage. So everywhere like it is expected to dominate by 2050. It is a projection. At the same time, if you see the plastic waste, which is one of the major challenges, like nowadays we all aware of the microplastic. Like it is, we have seen like everywhere, like in our in the bloodstream. So this is the major issue, and if you see how this plastic is being like handled, is very sad to observe. Like only 16% of these is being recycled, and a major part, like 80 to 85%, is still goes into landfill, incinerator, or like many of the, like if I give you for Indian perspective, like 1.9 million metric ton of pet waste alone is produced, and out of these, the 2.8 lakh tons are even not being collected. So forget about its recycling and further treatment. So that is the other challenge which needs to be addressed. Okay, see the carbon footprint, like this is one of my favorite slide, like I used to discuss, because these days we can see electric vehicle everywhere. And particularly if you see these two targets, like which are encircled in red boxes, like both are corresponding to the electric vehicle. And you see the one which is the second one, like which I am right now like targeting, it is the electric vehicle being charged. Like how it is being charged? It is being charged by the electricity produced from thermal power stations. So where we are basically burning coal. So more electric vehicles and more burning of carbon dioxide. So basically, like we are localizing CO2 emission, but of course, like CO2 emission is significant. So it's not just the changing from the fossil fuel vehicles to the electric vehicle or to the hydrogen vehicle, but it's also important how these energy is being like provided, like how it is, whether it is carbon negative or not, like, or whether the CO2 emission has been taken care of for these processes or not. And in this regard, like if you see hydrogen, which has a fantastic energy content, almost 3 times to that of the fossil fuel, and when it is burned, like or combust, like these days, along with the fuel cell, the ICE engine, the internal combustion engine of hydrogen, is also being extensively explored, and where also like being introduced only water. So, and it has the capacity to reduce CO2 emission. And if you see the green hydrogen standards of the government of India, so which indicates like if there is emission of CO2 2 kg or less than that per kg of hydrogen, it is considered to be hydrogen. So it includes whole process of the production, purification, and compression. But the same thing applies here, like how the CO2 is the hydrogen is being produced. Like one of the snapshot, if you see here, okay, so it is from the Paris Olympic where uh, many scientists like they opposed having thermodynamic, which is one of the standard or one of uh, the primary hydrogen based vehicle. So if you see the 96% of world hydrogen is still derived from fossil fuels. So it is the same issue, like and it has it is polluting more than the electric vehicles and even just marginally cleaner than traditional combustion engines. So it's very important like how hydrogen is being produced and how the CO2 is, which is taken care of in this process. So despite all these negativity and but hydrogen has shown its potential, like almost all the sector, if you see the personal, the vehicle, car to aeroplane to train, so everywhere like the heavy duty vehicles, all the sector hydrogen is being extensively explored and also in India is also scaling up and for the India aims to attain net zero emission by 2070 and which is where hydrogen is considered to play a significant role. Yeah, along with the plastic waste, because which are basically originate from the fossil, we also consider that the bioplastic, which is an alternative to the plastic, but effectively the chemically, if you see that both are same. So here I have mentioned a few of these things: the plastic, which is the PET-based plastic, or PTT, which is the trimethyl methylene terephthalate, and the polybutylene terephthalate. So in all these cases, like we have the chemically like a linker, which is a diol, is linked here, and which can be a precursor for hydrogen production during this process. But if you see like how this growth, like although the yellow one is indicating the petro-based plastic and the bioplastic, so both are coming up, but chemically they are same. So they're the processes for transforming them needs to be uh, mm, also developed, and it has to be developed in such a way that we can gain maximum out of this. And this snapshot indicates like how we can get hydrogen out of this, and then the the precursor molecules can again be used for the synthesis of virgin plastics. So instead of just recycling or this process. So I'm going to discuss a few of these examples. In fact, only one example of the PET and how this PET process can be made more economical, and if we further design it in a more smarter way. So the PET basically, which is polyethylene terephthalate, and which is having a terephthalic acid and glycol linker, and with our process like which where we have developed, it is producing the pure hydrogen gas, and along with the acetate and the terephthalate, disodium terephthalate. And if you see this terephthalate, which is obtained in a pure form, like this is 100% pure, and which can be a precursor for the formation of PET. At the same time, this red line indicates like the hydrogen gas produced during this process. So where we can directly use the PET flex, the flex from the bottle, which is widely available everywhere, and from our laboratory or from the institute, we collected it, and then we transformed it into hydrogen production. At the same time, we have analyzed like this is the ANOMA data, which indicates like the terephthalate and acetate both are present in this case. So there is no CO2 emission happened in this process, and this is how we can say like this hydrogen is CO2-free hydrogen, particularly if we consider this whole process and neglecting the energy and CO2 emission during the electricity being produced or electricity which is used in this process. Okay, and comparing with this, like this is a GC data, and where we can see this is the reference gas mixture, and which we where we anticipate the CO2 emission, methane or CO2 might be there, but you can see it's very clearly this is the evolved gas which corresponds to this red line, and where we have only hydrogen gas as a purified form. So which indicates it's 90, more than 99% pure hydrogen, and as per the our laboratory standard conditions. Now, the another challenge with the PET flakes, and basically which many times it makes its recycling cumbersome, is the different type of PET bottles available these days, like be it the neon or the amber color, and many times the segregation of this PET is one of the bottleneck in its proper recycling. And of course, for recycling, you cannot just mix the different color, because ultimately it will lead to the formation of the black color PET bottle, which is of no use. So, but in this process, what we have shown that all these different type of colors, like whether it's the transparent green or amber or the mixture, this leads no change in the overall production of hydrogen gas. So hydrogen gas is formed, and always the 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 coloring agent has no negative impact. And so if we have, to some extent, we have addressed this issue of segregation. So in this process, the another challenge is how to eliminate, because in these the flex, like there will be, and during the crushing machine we have the wrappers of the plastic labels, the cap rings, all those things, and we simulate these processes in our laboratory. And then what we found, like these the cap rings or the label plastic has no negative impact, and we can see this the tetracyclic acid can be easily separated out from the reaction, and the solution gives hydrogen gas. So overall this process is quite optimized. Now, so in this the PET flex transformation, like along with this PET, which as I mentioned, like it will be producing disodium terephthalate, and 33 kg of sodium format will also be formed this during this process, and all kind of PET flex and without any segregation can be directly used in this process. So if you see a very rough calculation, like how this value addition in this process happen. So the terephthalate will form the PET forms terephthalate. This terephthalate can be recycled for the formation of polyethylene terephthalate. At the same time, the sodium format which is formed, it is a very important commercial chemical, but at the same time, it is also hydrogen carrier, which can produce another amount of hydrogen gas. Along with this, as a linker, this terephthalate in the form of disodium terephthalate is a very important commercial component. Like it can be used as an anode material for sodium ion batteries. And if you see a rough estimation of around 20 to 50 rupees per kg of PET plastic, and the cost of this disodium terephthalate, which is formed in a one step process, like you see 160-degree, it costs around 6,000 rupees per kg. So it's the bulk price, and so it is almost like 100x value addition in this process. So this is how, like, we can see this hydrogen which is being produced, it is almost is kind of free, like, because we have a very highly value-added byproduct formed in this process. Similarly, glycerol, which is a byproduct of the biodiesel, and which comprises almost 10% of the weight of the crude biodiesel. And I'll just quickly mention here, like this process, which can form lactic acid. During this process, one equivalent of hydrogen is produced, and we can tune to get more hydrogen, and we have to sacrifice the lactic acid. So we can get formate with 4 equivalent of hydrogen and 1 equivalent of hydrogen with lactic acid. And in this process, like many often, like which we observe, the catalyst shows very poor life cycle. But here we have seen that the laboratory condition, almost 10 almost 10 cycle it can be utilized without significant loss in the activity. So in this process, like what we have seen, and I have shown here, 1 kg of 1 kg of hydrogen can be produced from 52 liters of glycerol, and at the very optimum temperature, like 110 degrees centigrade. And at the same time, it will produce 64 kg of lactic acid. So here, if you see a very rough estimation of about 80 to 20 to 80 liters of crude glycerol, uh, and the lactic acid, which is produced around like 150 to 250 rupees per kg. So it has a 4x value addition in this process. And again, like hydrogen, which is being produced is pure hydrogen gas. So I think with this, like I would like to mention, like or acknowledge my group, which is because I'm a professor here also in at IIT Indore. So so a lot of students have contributed to this work, and with their work, like I'm now trying to translate these processes into commercial. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing all the information, and very insightful indeed. Personally, I think we didn't know, none of us had any idea that, PET bottles could be converted into not just hydrogen, but valuable co-products. So definitely very valuable in terms of the emerging energy landscape and ecosystem. So I thank you for sharing everything that you have today.
Yeah.
Awesome. Our next speaker is academician Rajiv Sharma. Mr. Rajiv Sharma, co-founder of Huskage Innovations, an IIT Roper and TBIF incubated startup. Mr. Sharma leads pioneering work in converting agricultural residue and crop stubble into green hydrogen and multiple value-added byproducts using a fully indigenous and an AI-enabled process. His work directly addresses pressing challenges such as stubble burning, rural waste management, and clean energy generation. Stubble burning, as we know, is a very pressing issue in the present times, knowing the ongoing air quality in the northern part of India. He works closely with academic and industry partners to translate deep tech research into deployable hydrogen solutions. And we are delighted to have him share his journey, lessons learned, and commercialization outlook with us today. Rajiv, sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for the introduction. First of all, I'd like to make a small correction. I wouldn't qualify myself as academician, by the way, and that professor has been wrongly captured. Yeah, but along the journey, we have two other team members. I have our CTO, Dr. Rashdeep Singh, also joined in this presentation, and so basically. Once again, thanks for having us over here. We will share what we have been doing for the past 2.5 years and what the journey looks like from here going forward, and what it seems like would be how the technology would go ahead and what could be the possible outcomes of it. So, yes, we are incubated at IIT Ropar, that is for sure. And I'll just share my presentation with you. I'll let this introductory slide sink in some for all of you. If you look at it, the genesis of Huskage Innovations was the problem of agri residue burning, as Rumil rightly pointed out, and me and my co-founder, Mr. Nirlep Singh Rai, we were having this discussion, how can we solve this problem through a viable business enterprise? So any amount of research or analysis would not make sense unless it could transform into a viable business enterprise. So that was the core thought behind it. What we also need to understand is that our ancestors, so if you look over here, we have a shlok in Punjabi which says Pavan Guru. Most of you will understand this. This was attributed to Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So right in the 16th, 17th century, Pavan Guru Pani Pita, Mata Tarat Mahat. So Pavan is the Guru, Pani is the Pita, and Mata is the Dharat, or the soil or the land. So our ancestors or our gurus or our forefathers had this foresight of uh, putting all the elements which are critical for our survival. Money is obviously critical, but unless we have pure air, pure water, and pure soil, it is not going to be of any value. So that is, and we've also tried to capture the hydrogen electronic configuration in our logo as well, if you look at it. And we have placed it in between around 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals, of which we think we could impact 10 of them directly. So the idea is to have a decentralized carbon negative green hydrogen and allied product generating stations using agro residue feedstock, and it is an indigenous, integrated, and AI enabled process that we are working upon. So indigenous and integrated is critical over here because the alternate route of producing green hydrogen through the electrolytic method has its own challenges in terms of sourcing of rare earth metals, which, as all of us know right now, China controls a significant amount of that value chain. So it is critical that we also have an indigenous and an integrated system, which basically caters or solves the problem that we of geopolitics as well. And Punjab was at the forefront of the first green revolution, where when we were facing food shortages, Punjab took the lead, and we think it should take the lead in the second green revolution as well, where basically there is a significant potential. So Technology Business Incubator Foundation is where we are incubated at IIT Ropar. This is a team right now. As you can see, about 80 years of collective combined experience between the three of us. And it's a complementary experience if you look at it. My co-founder, Mr. Nirlep Singh Rai, he's superannuated as the CMD and CEO of National Fertilizers Limited. So he comes with that 4 decades of experience in the hydrogen ecosystem, setting up of large-scale ammonia and urea plants, besides corporate leadership and management. And obviously, engineering background also is a big help over there. Myself, I have done my basic education is in genetic engineering, molecular biology. We did explore that pathway as well for solving the problem of agri-residue burning, but over a period of time, I diverged into something different, but which seems more relevant now, which is complaint management, customer services, retention, and all. Yeah, as I mentioned, we have our CTO on the call as well, Dr. Arshdeep Singh. He completed his PhD from IISc Bangalore, and he has the relevant expertise, knowledge, and experience in gas separation, biomass gasification, carbon capture, gas contaminant analysis, and process simulation and intensification. We are also supported by Awadh, which is another incubator at IIT Ropar. Besides ISB Mohali. So these are the supporting institutions, directly supporting institutions to our effort right now. If you look at it, so the next slide, what we are trying to show over here is a picture which I actually captured during my trip to Bathinda somewhere in November 2024. It's a video actually. And as you can see over here, most of the fields in the hinterland of Punjab at that point of time were ablaze. The farmers don't have the opportunity to manage this agri residue, and the easiest and the better option or the faster option is crop residue burning. And we want to transition from this to the the flame that you see at the bottom left side, which is a syngas flame, which has about 28 to 30% of hydrogen, which was outcome of our testing that we have done. So in the middle, if you see, this is the current scenario, crop residue burning. We want to transition to a scenario where we have these 5 products coming out of our process, which is green hydrogen, biochar, biogenic carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and carbon credits. So a multi-product technology also makes a lot of sense because it de-risks the business model to some extent as well. While we were researching and analyzing on the whole technology and business point of this effort, we also realized that in India, government data suggests that we have around 178 million tons of agri residue available. So the scale or the possibility of scale up is not only within Punjab, it's pan India as well. And if you add to it agroforestry, the potential becomes significant. So instead of digging deep into fossil fuels, probably growing more trees, more plants, greening the country would make a lot more sense, improve the hydrological cycle, provide feedstock for green hydrogen production, if we manage it right. So this is, in a nutshell, a very high level sort of input with regards to the scenario that we are in and where we should be actually heading for. If we manage to control or manage our agri residues in a better manner, it would not only have positive health and environmental implications, but it would also improve our productivity in the farms as well. Because by burning agri residue, we are also eliminating fungal and bacterial populations, which are helpful for the plant growth. So our solution basically is a multi-step process. A couple of patents have been filed around it. From agro residues, there is something known as syngas generation, a thermochemical process, followed by cleaning and conditioning of the gas, further hydrogen enrichment. Now, this is the second step is where the challenge was, given the nature of agri residue that we are dealing with, which is rice straw. For your information, rice straw is a difficult agri residue to manage because it also has high ash or inorganic content in it, and hence the difficulty in managing it. So that is what we seem to have cracked, and that is what you saw in the flame over here at the left side of the previous slide. Hydrogen enrichment followed by simultaneous separation of lighter hydrogen and heavier carbon dioxide. This is where expertise of Dr. Arshdeep comes into play, followed by storage and dispensation. If you look at it, there are a variety of feedstocks which can be used in the entire process, be it coconut shells, down south, paddy straw, husk, sugarcane bagasse, coconut, even invasive biomass species such as Lantana camera, which has sort of invaded our forests and spread to a large extent, and also creating a problem with by eliminating local endemic plant species of the country. By eliminating this and using it as a feedstock, we could also be doing some, it would be better for our forests as well. So a variety of feedstocks can be used, and we call this the L4G model, which is a local feedstock to be used in a local process by local people for local production. And you could replicate this across the globe, actually, the entire technology. So this is replicable. This slide gives you a view of what the products of our process are and what is the scenario like in terms of growth worldwide and across India as well. At the bottom, you see various applications of each of the products. Some of them are existing applications like FMCG, chemicals, oil refinery, but there are more applications coming up in terms of steel, in terms of transport, in terms of pipeline injection. So all of these are upcoming sectors where hydrogen has a role to play. Biochar has existing applications in for soil amendment, water filtration, hosiery, cement manufacturing, etc. Biogenic carbon dioxide has multiple applications. Upcoming applications like alternative fuels is a very interesting sort of a field or domain which is coming up significantly. And high purity nitrogen, which has multiple applications as well. Carbon credits also have a significant contribution to the revenue stream in this technology. Now, why this solution? What is the purpose? It addresses multiple environmental, health, economic, and national energy security related issues. Reduced greenhouse gas emissions and particulate matter emissions happen automatically if we use this feedstock into this technology. It also improves human health and soil. It has a possibility of increasing farm income to the tune of 1,000 rupees to 1,500 rupees per ton of agri residue. And fossil fuel import, this can be reduced and strengthened, and also our national energy security can also be enhanced thereafter. The technology is capable of handling multiple feedstocks, and this is where the AI bit comes into play. The self-diagnostic tools or pathways and auto troubleshooting, besides the capability of using multiple feedstocks. So it technically becomes a feed agnostic process with regards to agri residue or biomass. We are also pushing for a concept known as biomass banks at a village level. So as we go ahead in the presentation, I'll share with you where exactly this concept of biomass banks comes into play. As I mentioned, with this, around UN Sustainable Development Goals come into play. No poverty, good health and well-being, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth. All of these 10 UN Sustainable Development Goals become, besides contributing to national missions such as National Green Hydrogen Mission, Viksit Bharat, Waste to Energy, and carbon capture and utilization schemes. The business model, basically, we foresee that it would generate two major types of streams: a primary revenue stream coming from the products, and the secondary revenue stream coming from these other routes. Traction, funding, and valuation. So we are an industrial partner with IIT Ropar for green hydrogen funding applications. One of them has been funded. Two are currently under review. We have worked on MOUs with biomass aggregators or agri residue aggregators, thermochemical conversion OEMs, hydrogen enrichment, gas, all of these. So we have sort of worked on the entire value chain of the technology, the input as well as the output. Multiple agreements with product off-takers are in process, including in fertilizer, steel, and engineering majors in India. So we have gone ahead at a broader level, also influencing the policy by convincing the Punjab Energy Development Agency to focus more on biomass-based green hydrogen rather than the electrolytic route. Anyways, the states are fighting with each other for water, given demographic and availability of water because of various other requirements. We have also had interest from multiple people at multiple states, in multiple states. Besides Punjab, there is Haryana, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, and Uttar Pradesh, where we have done some on-field assessments. Besides that, we have done a physico-chemical property analysis of some of the feedstocks, techno-economic assessments, and simulation. One other interesting thing we realize is that about 30 to 40% of our energy requirement can be met in-house, which is significant, which would reduce our waste and tail gas emissions. We have also worked on the challenges and on agro residue bracketing and figured a solution out of it. Besides that, we have been a part of the Decode cohort of Innovation Mission Punjab, besides the Social Impact Accelerator at ISB Mohali. A decent amount of funding has been generated for our requirements till date. The journey started somewhere in April 2023, so about 2.5 years, and we have raised about 60 lakh rupees, which has helped us cover all our expenses till date. A few applications are currently under review, and our valuation is somewhere in the tune of 50.29 crore on a DCF method. This is the testing. As I mentioned, this was the step which was critical, the second step, and that is what we have figured out. From this agri residue, which was converted into briquettes and subsequently put through this equipment or plant to generate a syngas flame, which gave us the confidence that yes, we are on the right track and this technology can be put to commercial utilization. This was a long duration testing, and we successfully worked on that. And 4 different types of agri residues were used, and approximately 10 tons of agri residue was put through this whole plant to give us green hydrogen or a syngas output, which is where hydrogen is to the tune of 28 to 30%. What are we looking at? We are looking to set up a first 200 kg per day plant in or around IIT Ropar. So there are a couple of other options that we are evaluating currently. Now this 200 kg per day plant would also produce, besides 200 kgs of green hydrogen, 940 kgs of biochar, 2600 kgs of biogenic carbon dioxide, 900 kgs of high purity nitrogen, besides 2.7 to 4.5 carbon credits per day as per our assessment. The idea is to mainstream biomass to green hydrogen, which is currently undersubscribed in the government scheme, the side scheme of the National Green Hydrogen. So this pathway is heavily undersubscribed, and there's a whole lot of possibility around that. It reduces the disparity between hydrogen demand and supply by producing hydrogen. We can tune the quality of hydrogen in our production. It also aligns with the IPMV protocol for energy and resource assessments, the Pollution Control Board, and PESO regulations also. So that is work in progress. Established performance for compliance under ISO 14687, which is high purity fuel cell grade green hydrogen, and various other compliances, which is under the Green Hydrogen Certification Scheme, Carbon Credit Trading Scheme, Carbon border adjustment mechanisms. Now, this is critical basically for industries where they have their export obligation, or where they are exporting and they are under obligation to go green, because the customers in Europe or Japan are pushing for that. So this is where we think that co-locating our technology in such plants would help these industries transition to cleaner fuels, and hence be able to export to Europe or Japan for that matter. Optimized plant generation capacity we figured out is 1 to 2 TPD. Now there are several reasons why this factor comes into play. One is the availability of agri residue, for year-round availability, for transportation. So there are very many techno-economic reasons for having this kind of output. The unique selling proposition of our process or technology is it will be able to handle multiple feedstocks. So that's the feed agnostic process, multiple value-added products, a novel separation process where we can separate lighter hydrogen from heavy carbon dioxide, besides using the tail gases for our energy requirements. A net negative carbon footprint as per our assessment to the tune of 10 to 13 kgs. Process tuning to generate hydrogen grades, which I mentioned. So these are the several points which I already discussed about. As I mentioned, we intend to set up this first demo cum commercial plant in or around IIT Ropar. And this is a roadmap for Huskage that we have set for ourselves. Once we have this, the implementation time is somewhere between 15 to 18 months. We've taken a higher time frame because it would be a first of its kind plant. And this is how we envisage the journey of Askej is going to look like, or maybe even better after the first plant comes into play. So we are currently located out of Roopnagar, and our output can be taken up by industries in the Ludhiana belt, in Bathinda. Besides, we also have a significant industrial uh, presence in Batti Barotiwala, which is just next to Roopnagar, where we are based out of. So these are the various industries where this product offtake can be ensured. The way ahead, this is how we think a network of green hydrogen plants producing 1 to 2 tons per day green hydrogen year round would look, be it along the roadways, the road network, road highways, or the train network that the country has. This is what we had to share. We'll be happy to take your questions.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing everything about your initiatives. I think it is especially valuable for our academics that are present in the meeting today, in the webinar today, because you shared a lot about how your technology went from a lab scale prototype to now moving towards commercialization. So I think that that transition is very valuable, and I think a lot of academia, like the academic ecosystem, is struggling with that in India these days. So eh, it was a very valuable presentation
Thank
in
you.
that regard. So I think we'll open the floor for some questions for the next 5 to 7 minutes, and then Ekansh will take over talking a little bit about Hydrogen Network India. So the first question we have, I think, is from the previous presentation uh, by Ms. Devanshi Zala. What is the catalyst here, page 17? So I think Mr. Sanjay sir, I think this is a question for you. Can we speak anything about the catalyst?
Uh, See, we are still, because the catalyst is one of the bottleneck, because that is contributing a lot to the price of the overall process. So we are still trying to optimize the catalyst type, so that we can have the low cost catalyst for this process.
Yeah, I think we just have another follow-up question for you, sir. What is the target H2 purity and what is the levelized cost of hydrogen when produced using PET?
Okay. So as I mentioned, the cost estimation is still going on. But I can say about the purity, because it's a CO₂-free hydrogen gas, so it's complete. It's 100% pure hydrogen. So there is no other contamination of any CO₂ or any other carbon monoxide or methane gas.
Okay. We have a question on promoting hydrogen evolution at 160 degrees.
Yeah, so the question is about the base. So base we use for the hydrolysis of the linker, because if you see that the most of these are ester bonded systems for PET, so we use base to hydrolyze the esters bond.
Thank you for sharing that. Opening the floor to questions for Rajiv sir.
Yeah, one of the questions is asking what is the raw material for green hydrogen production in this process?
As you mentioned, the raw material in our case is agri residue. Primarily, it is rice straw, because that is the problem that we started to tackle. And so that is one of the feedstocks. We have also tested on mustard and sugarcane bagasse as well, besides coconut shells.
Okay. I think the we'll take another question, maybe the last one. Is there any initial investment assumption? I think this is a question on capex regarding the equipment. Do we have
Yes.
an estimate on capex?
Yes, we have an estimate around that. Our first plant, we have our estimated cost working out. So it includes 6 months of operating expenses, 18 months of pre-operative expenses. It works out to somewhere to the tune of 18.53 CR.
Understood. There's a question on methodology for hydrogen production. So what we'll do is we will release a link to the recording of this session, which mainly covers the methodology for hydrogen production in both the cases, in both the presentations that we have. I will now like to open the floor to Ekansh, who is the co-founder at Hydrogen Network India, to talk a little bit about our engagement so far. Over to you. Rajiv, sir, may I request you to end the screen share?
Just a minute, please. Yes.
Yes.
Sorry. Sorry on that.
Is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, as we come towards the end of today's webinar, I would just like to briefly share how Hydrogen Network India is approaching hydrogen education beyond discussions and presentations. So hydrogen systems, whether fuel cells or electrolyzers, sit at the intersection of electrochemistry, thermal systems, fluid dynamics, controls, and safety. And these are concepts that are difficult to fully internalize through just theory. So our focus has been on translating these fundamentals into structured hands-on learning experiences that allow the students and faculty to see how real hydrogen systems behave under different operating conditions. And this is where lab-based education becomes essential. So for hydrogen fuel cells, we combine fundamental theory with structured experimentation. And on the theory side, we participants are introduced to working principles of PEM fuel cells, voltage losses, efficiency limitations, and thermal management, and most importantly, hydrogen safety and best practices. And then these learnings are reinforced with hands-on experiments such as polarization and power curve analysis, hydrogen and air starvation tests, temperature sensitivity studies, anode and cathode flow rate sensitivity studies. And participants do not just observe results, they learn how the operating parameters influence the performance, stability, and degradation. And this mirrors how fuel cells are evaluated in research and environments. And then we also have these workshops for electrolyzers, and we cover different topics such as polarization curve generation, hydrogen production rate calculations, temperature and pressure sensitivity studies again, and then water quality effects and dynamic operation under varying loads. And then these workshops are designed for, these are just not limited to students with a strong engineering background. We deliberately design our program so that they can start at a very basic introductory level and where no prior experience is required in hydrogen electrochemistry or core engineering. And the same can we can scale in complexity from undergraduate exposure to postgraduate coursework to PhD level experimentation and faculty development program. So yeah, workshops can go from zero background to up to research grade experimentation basically. And then we can have these workshops in different structures. So they can be delivered at short introductory sessions, single day or multi-day programs, or extended hands-on courses depending on institutional requirements. And the same applies to the complexity. Programs can remain conceptual and descriptive, or they can go deeper into diagnostics, data interpretation, and experimental design. And then the delivery formats include on-site workshops, faculty development programs, long-term lab integration, allowing institutions to build sustained hydrogen capability rather than just a single one-time exposure. And finally, what we provide. So we provide end-to-end learning ecosystem. This includes the fuel cell and electrolyzer training equipment, detailed lab manuals, safety documentation, structured experimental procedures, sample reports, and data interpretation guides. We also provide on-site expert trainers and support faculty in becoming independent operators of the systems so that the learning continues well beyond the workshop itself. And our aim is not just to deliver a training session, but to enable institutions to confidently teach, experiment, and build research capacity in hydrogen technology. And yeah, for institutions interested in introducing hydrogen education from a very first exposure with no prior background and all the way to advanced experimental and research-oriented training, we would be happy to engage further after the session to discuss customization and collaboration opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ekansh. As we conclude today's Hydrogen Innovation Summit, I would like to sincerely thank once again Professor Sanjay K. Singh and academician Rajiv Sharma sir for sharing their valuable insights and real-world experiences in waste to hydrogen innovation. Thank you as well to all participants for your time and engagement. Your interest reflects the growing momentum around green hydrogen and circular energy pathways in India. At Hydrogen Network India, we look forward to continuing these conversations and exploring opportunities for collaboration. Please feel free to reach out to us after this session, or you can reach us through our website on LinkedIn. Thank you once again, and have a great day ahead. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Ekans. Thank you, Dhumil. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
You too, sir. Thank you.